So, I was going to leave this till morning. So I've uploaded that family courts playlist, and I'm going to try for one of those a week. I want to get quite a lot of policy areas covered before crisis reaches a certain point. Like, crisis is going to reach a certain point within about 3 months. And I want, before that point, to have laid out a whole bunch of policy areas. So, I apologise to people who actually subscribe. I don't know why you do, because they must just ping up. Like, I'm not going for scheduling, I'm going for getting policy areas covered. So, really sorry about that. But I was finished, and I finally uploaded and in order. And then I got an article that there's been an inquiry ordered into the 4,400% increase in referrals for gender dysphoria among girls. So I thought I would head off that inquiry, and I'm going to tell you what they're going to find. And I think most people who've worked with teenage girls know they're going to find. And what they're going to find is exactly what we've been describing. Now, we already have a multitude of different identity disorders and body dysmorphia disorders and self-harming behaviours that young girls demonstrate during this period. This is not new. Transit doesn't even fall anywhere outside those patterns. Is, you know, anorexia. Some of the statements from parents could be about anorexia. It's like, it's really, really interesting, actually, from that, purely. But anyway, here's what we're going to find. We're going to find that a high number of those young girls are victims of sexual abuse. There are quite a lot of some complex stuff going on with their feelings about the way the world has changed once they have started to develop. And the world does change significantly once your friends' dads start hitting on you and your teachers start perving on you and the shopkeepers start perving on you and you don't really know what to do because in your head you're still fucking 12. There's a lot of that. There's going to be a lot of girls who are not neurotypical. Girls with Asperger's have a rotten time of it, properly rotten. There's also going to be a lot of lesbians. And so what we've actually got here is just a fairly run-of-the-mill issue with girls, which has been counted as social contagion. We've seen this before with other self-harming behaviours. But what's new here is the adult male activist driving this. And we're going to go back to the grooming issue. So what we've seen is a demand from abusive males, including paedophiles, flashers, overtly abusive males who go on TV to defame doctors as paedophiles and then go and tell kids to learn to suck cock early and get tits early. People who are describing their sexual ideal as children and girls. Demanding that an adult psychological device be used and applied to an entirely different population. So we have adult males, abusive adult males, demanding that teenage girls be groomed into self-harming behaviours so that their identity can be validated. These are not the same populations. So we've created this trans umbrella, which also includes paedophiles, flashers, rapists, abusers, and anybody who just fancies being a woman for the day. And with all this confusion, we've got two distinct populations. We've got young teenage girls and adult males. And the adult males are the ones who are driving the responses to the articles like Jessie Singal's article. And we have a field of medicine which is fundamentally devalued because it's largely shaped by narcissistic activists. And while I really, really like Ray Blanchard and I'm really grateful for his, contribution, what's in evidence is that this is a field of medicine that's been shaped by abusive activists. Children's treatment cannot be shaped by that. Now, we do not discuss medical treatment for children without discussing treatment. And there's been pretty much a moratorium on discussion of this treatment, and you've got adult abusive males on the internet demanding that they be the central stakeholder in discussion of treatment for these girls. We're talking about mastectomies, we're talking about testosterone, we're talking about ending fertility, we're talking about long-term health problems. We're talking about taking skin off their fucking arms to make an ineffective pretend penis that they'll never be able to use. And we're talking about telling those girls that what they need is utter dependence on adult activists and constant external validation. and that all their energies must be focused on these self-harming behaviours and validating those adult identities. I don't know what to tell you, we've got a major grooming scandal in plain sight. Now the Tavistock, who I actually know from a case, a proper, we're really lucky in the UK that we don't have private medical care like everywhere. We don't have doctors who've seen a cash care, we don't have all that, we don't have that here. And we have the Tavistock who know what I know and are not going to be affirming young people in self-harming behaviours blindly at all. And they know all the stuff I know and they'll be watching and waiting. And what I'm saying is not that much different to what they'll be saying. But they have significantly more expertise than I do. But you see, Mermaids and Stonewall and Pink News and The Guardian and the other organisations screaming turf, you have just witnessed them try to enact a large-scale grooming operation. Now, not only was there the attempt to undermine safeguarding, but there has already been the demand that adult identities, mentally unwell adult identities, are imposed on children, and that those children be induced into self-harming behaviour. We know that desisters, in the main, most kids will desist because we know not to pathologise normal childhood and adolescent to make adult mentally unwell males feel better, which is what's just been facilitated. We're not doing that. We also know that one of the textbook hallmarks of grooming is the way that groomers deal with young people who get out of their control, and the way that detransitioners are treated suggests that this is grooming. So the Equalities Office has opened an inquiry which will establish what I've already said about that population of young people. That's not the issue here. The issue here is not the Tavistock who will manage this and have found themselves in a bit of a storm that they didn't make. The issue is now that the writing is on the wall for Pink News, for Stonewall, for Mermaids, for all sorts, and for the people who have just cheerleaded and organised abusive culture of males in demanding that young women be groomed and induced into self-harming behaviours on an industrial scale in plain sight. I imagine there's some people shitting themselves. If I was a journalist covering this right now, I'd get my request for commenting quick because people are going to start locking down quite soon as it becomes apparent what's gone on.